Okay, now we're going to be talking about thinking and intelligence. We're not going to get into language for this class, but focus more on thinking and intelligence. Start with the concept of cognitive psychology, the cognitive revolution. Basically, in the 1950s, a return of focus to the mind and mental processes. So that's essentially what cognition is: how information is processed, how it's manipulated when we remember things, how our memory works, how we think, how we know. And cognitive psychologists, they specialize in studying these mental processes that we have. And the addition of the field of cognitive neuroscience merges these mental processes that have been studied with actual brain processes that can actually be measured. So you can see how the brain and mental processes are essentially working together, how what is going on in the brain when you are engaging in these mental processes. As we learn more about the brain, we learn more about how our mental processes work. One of the cognitive psychologists often use computers as an analogy to how our mind works, how our mental processes work. And it's applied for research on developing artificial intelligence as well. Kind of knowing how our brain works means that we can figure out ways to develop computers that might mimic the mental processes that human beings have. Still working on that, though. So let's look at that computer analogy. And in many ways, the computer analogy fits. Basically, both humans and computers, they are receiving information from the environment. If you're talking about a human being, we are seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, and so on. Stimuli from the environment. Computers, you have input that is, like typing into a keyboard that is being put into the system here. And both humans and computers have a memory system that processes this information. So in the human being, our brain processes this information. Our memory processes, our working memory, for example, puts this information, processes it. Maybe processes it to remember it for a short period of time, processes it to remember for a long period of time, encoding into long-term memory, for example. So these are the various mental processes that occur when we are exposed to, when we receive stimuli from the environment. Likewise, with computers, you type information into the computer. It is saved on the hard drive of a computer. It is, your computer has memory to allow it to conduct processes, active processes, as well as memory for storage. And finally, you have output. So for human beings, we process the information. If we're trying to remember something and we remember some 7-digit number in our working memory, the output might be dialing the phone number on a phone. Okay. For a computer, the output might be printing out a document that is being typed onto the computer, or opening up a file that has been saved on the computer and running the program, or again printing something out. So the computer analogy does work. It's called an information processing approach, and it fits in with a lot of what cognitive psychologists are talking about in terms of how our mental processes work.